we've run very kind of close to the end here, so I'm going to throw just a couple of very quick questions across to you folks, and any questions we've got in we won't get a chance to, like I say, we'll try and get a response put on Field Service News as well. Patrice, the first question I'm going to put to yourself, though, right at the top of your presentation, there were some really scary statistics there about how our aging workforce is actually happening at a rapid pace. For those companies that don't heed the warnings, for those companies that go out and get this wrong and don't engage with millennials and don't follow your kind of advice, just how big an issue is this going to be?
Well, it's going to get bigger and bigger, and I'll tell you why. I think most of everybody on the phone here knows that the biggest cost that a field service organization has typically is people and spare parts. And when you think about people, there are huge costs in recruiting and hiring. So to get this right the first time, it really can save serious dollars. There are also competitive issues. Remember that group is kind of dwindling a little bit, and they want to be, dare I say it, they want to be excited about their new career, right? So we have to grab them, or we simply won't have the workforce that will be able to satisfy the capacity needs that we have. So a lot of high costs in recruiting and hiring. You don't want to make a poor hire. You want to hire the best athlete, but you also want to make sure that competitively speaking, you're grabbing that as well. Now the good news is, honestly, everyone on this phone can do something about this. It's literally just a matter of paying attention to those hot buttons and reaching out in the places where you'll find these millennials, because they're definitely out there. They're very eager to make a difference. If you have a value proposition as an employer that says, hey, we are going to go out and change the world, we're making a difference, we have a great mission statement at our company, we welcome you in, and we're looking forward to, as a team, taking this company to the next level, you've got them. So it can be very impactful from a dollars perspective, but the good news is that everyone on the phone here can get a piece of that and hire the best athlete for them.
Brilliant. Okay, Nick, are you back with us? Because I know we had a couple of technical issues during your presentation, so I think we're all back on track now, yeah?
Yeah, I'm here.
Fantastic, excellent. A really quick question to yourself, Nick. It was great to see some of these examples of IoT that aren't the General Electrics, electronics, that aren't Philips, that aren't Alstom, that aren't these huge organizations with complex kind of technologies already embedded. Great to see, examples of, dare I say, slightly mundane examples of how companies can really benefit. I mean, what would you see as the most critical step for a company that wants to adopt an IoT strategy in a field service environment?
I think in a field service environment, there is one very quick win, which is on the cost side, which I think most companies can see, and it's fairly easy to get a business case together to show that if you actually can connect to your asset, that actually certainly during the warranty phase for that product, you can save a significant amount of cost by actually being able to analyze the problem remotely and actually save on the visit of a field service engineer. Easy business case, can get you started, and the main thing is get you connected to your equipment. And once you start to get connected to your equipment, you can start to actually really understand how you can actually start to use the technology to make a difference to your customers. So I think that's the first quick step is actually get connected, and then you can start to see the opportunity.
Sure. So get the connections in place, and I suppose it evolves beyond that. Then once the first step's in place, there's a natural progression.
That's right, yeah, and I think the thing is bear in mind is that the big opportunity is not actually on the cost side; it's on the revenue side. Huge opportunity, but that's where you have to really start to understand your customers' business processes and your customers' business models. That's where the money is, if you like, that you can actually win and therefore win revenue.
Okay. Patrice, a question back to yourself. The millennial generation, as we saw in your presentation, all about collaboration and all about technology. Now, how important is it for field service companies to be using the latest and smartest and shiniest bits of tech in order to be able to make themselves an appealing place for this millennial generation to come and want to work?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'll say that the latest and greatest in technology only as it is appropriate to what you're doing. So I know there's this kind of concept of grab the shiny pretty thing, and I think that as field service leaders, we're all very well aware about the cost of that, and certainly you don't want to go out and grab tech for tech's sake, but there's such a movement and so many great things that can be done with these tools out there that it's pretty important. Matter of fact, just a quick story, I have not had fewer than 5 or 6 customers come up to me and say that they're recruiting, that they have people calling their companies because they are providing the latest and greatest. They are using mobility. They are starting to think about putting RFID on really expensive tools so they can make sure that they're not accidentally left behind. They're starting to, in companies like, companies that perhaps are sending technicians out to remote locations where it might be a bit dangerous, they're using these wearables with biometrics in them, and they're taking care of the employees and that kind of thing. These companies are saying that they're getting candidates call in and say, hey, I've heard you guys are doing this, and I'm really interested. Do you have any openings? So I would say that use that technology that's appropriate to your situation, but don't underestimate it, because you might be very surprised at how that is quite a carrot to dangle in front of a diminishing work pool here.
Cool. Yeah. It's a case of absolutely the technology needs to be right. There's no point in technology for technology's sake, but yes, I fully agree with that. That it can be the difference between making your company A and company B being attractive. The tools that you get to use are absolutely going to be something that's going to weigh on a consideration, especially on a technology-focused generation like millennials. One final question, I'll put this to both of you. Technology and field service, as we kind of see, I see on a daily basis writing on field service news, and we've seen a little bit of it coming through in this presentation as well. The two have become more and more entwined. Now, do you think that this is going to continue to accelerate as we make the move from baby boomers to millennials, and as more and more technologies such as IoT, big data, connected vehicles, 3D printing, everything else comes to the fore? I suppose basically, do you see us as being in a transition stage where we're in the middle of a technological revolution for field service, or do you think we're coming to the kind of the end and we're going to hit a plateau soon? Which way do you see that? And Nick, maybe if you'd like to take that question first.
Well, actually, Chris, I think we're at the beginning. I think we haven't even started to really get into it because people haven't really got their heads around what they can do. Everyone's talking about the shiny things, the technology at the moment, but we'll start really making progress when we start to do and demonstrate real benefits. And so I think it's a really exciting time.
Brilliant. Okay, and Patrice, your closing thoughts on that question.
Absolutely. We're on the cusp of a huge, huge wave. We are starting to see some of this take place where, for instance, wouldn't it be great if your field technicians were flown in for an emergency repair and could, through the technology, look and see what's around them in a radius and go and help out on that, or visit a customer that's coming close to a warranty expiration, or all of that stuff. The RFID thing, that's being introduced at very low costs. There's all kinds of technology out there that is starting to bring, I guess, all of the parallel efforts in a typical field service organization really to focus on increasing revenues, increasing engagement, lowering costs. It's truly, I agree completely with Nick, it's truly, we're on the cusp of something big here that I don't foresee plateauing out for many, many years.
Excellent. And I think that's a lovely forward-looking focus and a nice positive focus on a webinar that's been all about the future is now. Perhaps some of the future is now, but the most exciting part of the future is just around the corner. Patrice, Nick, thank you both for joining us. Everyone that's still here, especially those that are in the UK, thank you for hanging around. I know we've overrun by a few minutes, but I'm sure you'll agree that those questions and more importantly the answers were worth hanging around for. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you again soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.